So the trailer for The Irishman is finally here. 10 years after being stuck in development hell, we finally get the long-awaited Scorsese swan song to the gangster genre he helped define. I've got a fever, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm coughing and spluttering. In general, I don't do trailer breakdowns. A lot of the time I find them pointless because you could end up analysing a scene endlessly that you've taken completely out of context, or it might not even appear in the final film. But as I've been waiting for a decade for this film to come out and almost my entire channel is dedicated to The Irishman, it would be weird for me not to make one. I'm going to keep this short and simple, just a little brief look at the trailer, and we'll follow this up with some more detailed ones which will go into spoilers, but this video here remains spoiler free. There's a lot to take in from the trailer, even though technically it's the second teaser. For those who haven't read the script or the book it's based on or don't know anything about the story, it's nice that they give you a bit of overview and a tease of the importance of the story, but don't go into specifics and ruin any surprises. Nothing is given away. For those who know the story, if you're eagle-eyed, you'll spot a lot of scenes mentioned in the book and the script. For example, if you're careful, you'll see Stephen Graham's Tony Pro in 3 different scenes. I recognised almost every scene featured, and I'm really excited that the film hasn't left out a lot of parts I'm looking forward to from the book and the script, and I'll discuss that in another video. So first things first, the one thing that was on all of our minds was the CGI, and judging by the trailer, and don't forget they could still be working on it, I'd say it's a mixed bag. That's my first impression, but mostly good. A lot of the CGI showcased is brilliant. The way they've de-aged Pacino, who is almost 80 years old in real life, is remarkable. The use of shadows helps, and many shots of him look stunning, especially the close-up of his eyes. I will say though, if you've noticed, until the shot of De Niro at the end, they've gone out of their way to cover up the actors' faces in a lot of the scenes, either with their hands or phones or having them turned away from the camera. Is this something we should be worried about perhaps? Much of the CGI is subtle. It's not like they've made De Niro and Pacino look like they did in their 30s and 40s. It's small touches here and there in general. The best examples are the shots of Pesci, who's a bit older than De Niro's character in the movie, so he won't need to be de-aged as much, but if you look at him in real life and then in the film, the difference is clear. And the shots of him so far look good. The most shaky shots of the de-aging I thought were of De Niro. At the end when he's on the phone and when he's looking at Pesci, it looks weird, uncanny valley-like. There's a glossy and rubbery PS4 cutscene thing going on there. Near the beginning of the trailer, when Pesci is on the phone and De Niro is in the background, again it looks quite cartoony. I think De Niro sticks out a bit more than the others because they've also changed the colour of his eyes to blue, as Frank Sheeran's were. And this is done with contacts in the older scenes and with CGI in the younger ones, so it'll take a little longer to get used to him than the others. They also don't look that young, do they? Especially De Niro, who is in his 30s if I remember correctly when Frank meets Hoffa. It's one of the things I was thinking about for a while, in that will they de-age De Niro to make him look young in how he looked young, i.e. with his face thinner, or would it be a case of removing wrinkles and stuff of what is already there on his face, small touch-ups? It looks like they've gone for the latter option, which is the better choice as the tech isn't there for the first option, and anyway, you delve into animation territory if you take the first choice. It's still very good, and overall the CGI showcased is very good, but is it perfect? No. Is it bad enough that it's going to harm the film? Well, from what we've seen, I'd say no. But I will reiterate that they've hidden the de-aged faces a lot in the trailer through cutaways. And there's also this fact that we have to consider. Are we going to spend the entire runtime examining the CGI, where it was good and where it was bad, or is it going to be good enough that we don't notice it and stay immersed in the film? So let's stop talking about the CGI for a minute. How exciting is this? A new Martin Scorsese gangster movie with De Niro, Pacino, Pesci and Keitel. It looks like Scorsese has returned to the 1:85:1 aspect ratio he used to use in the old days, like how he shot Goodfellas and Taxi Driver for example, which seemed likely going off of previously leaked images of The Irishman. The movie has a polished look. like someone's rubbed it with some sanitary wipes. It's to be expected, what with the amount of CGI in the film. Speaking of the CGI again, for the last time in this video, there is a lot on display in this trailer, and not from the actors' faces, but in many parts of the background shots. And you don't notice it, so it's pretty good. The way the movie is shot looks like it has that dynamite energy that Scorsese's films ooze. The sweeping shots in the courtrooms of Hoffa's trial is exactly how I imagined them in my head. The most exciting shot in the trailer is when Pesci tells Pacino that he isn't being appreciative. Wow, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci in the same film, talking right there to each other. And it's the scene itself as well. I'm not going to go into it, but this is such an important scene in the film, and it's really exciting. And seeing as though Pesci's character is highly introverted and doesn't raise his voice, that snippet of Pesci telling Pacino about appreciation is most likely the most lively acting he does in the film. Oh yeah, by the way, if you don't already know, Pesci's character in the film is nothing like previous mob roles he's played, and he doesn't curse at all. You can check out my spoiler-free video called Joe Pesci, A Different Kind of Gangster to find out more. I like that, as well as the mob stuff, it seems there will be many scenes dedicated to Hoffa's union battles, his court cases, and the mob's possible involvement with the JFK assassination, the last of which was left out in the draft script I've read. This was some of the most interesting stuff in the book, and there's really so much the film has to cover that even with montages that Scorsese does, you can't see this film not being really long. From the trailer, we can get a feel of the characters. Already it's evident that Joe Pesci is an important person, a dangerous one and almost mystical. I love that quick whip to him in the bar where Provenzano is talking in his ear and Pesci remains still and unmoving. The way he's shot alludes to this, as does the way the shots of Al Pacino show much of the movie revolves around him, as we knew it would. It looks like the tired and lethargic Pacino that we've seen in many recent films has been left at home this time, because Pacino is bringing his A game here. He looks full of energy and adrenaline, something the role requires a lot of. De Niro's Frank Sheeran, meanwhile, is essentially our window into the events of the film. So we see Pesci's reclusiveness and menace, Pacino's boisterousness, and De Niro's character essentially being a passenger in his own film. I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just that one of the things I mentioned in previous videos is that while this is the story of Frank Sheeran, he's surrounded by colourful characters in the book, and he himself is a pretty introverted guy. It's only towards the latter stages of the film that it really becomes Sheeran's own personal story, and we'll see De Niro absolutely kill it. I hope. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I will be releasing a more detailed breakdown of the trailer in a few days. If you want updates and discussions about The Irishman, you can check out my channel as I talk a lot about this film and will continue to do so consider subscribing if you'd like. The Irishman will have its world premiere on September the 27th. Thanks for watching.